the lovely Hi-Point 40. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have kind of a fun video on an interesting topic we're going to go over, and that is the Hi-Point 40. The Hi-Point firearms, pistols, and rifles they make are some of the cheapest firearms on the market. This one here was given to us graciously. Thank you to the person that donated this wonderful piece of American craftsmanship to the channel. Quick little history lesson on this one. This one sat in a guy's gun safe for about 10 years without ever being shot. So I'm pretty sure it was shot before he got it, but this one is actually an older Hi-Point. And the reason that I know that is because of the magazine design. So this magazine is not what the newer Hi-Point mags look like, and honestly, this is probably better quality than the newer ones, if you can associate the word quality with these firearms at all. The Hi-Point firearms are made out of two materials primarily. Of course, a polymer frame, which is what everything's made out of. I'm sure this one is made out of some lovely melted Hot Wheels cars or something like that. But the top of it is actually made out of a material called Zamac, which is a zinc alloy. So pretty much the cheapest of the cheap pot metal you can make something out of. These guns are direct blowback, which means there's absolutely no recoil system, if you will, no tilting barrel action. So what this thing does to cut down on the recoil, and the only way you can really cut down on the recoil, is by adding mass to the slide, which is what this thing is. This thing is a tank. If this gun ever quit working, I'm just going to use it as a hammer and call it a day. Another interesting fact, it does have a manual thumb safety that doubles as your slide lock. So pull the gun back, you can lock the slide open with this lever, push it down, that would chamber your first round, or you can push it up and use it as your safety too. So dual purpose, I guess. We actually don't allow these in our classes anymore because of all the malfunctions and stuff we've seen with them. I've seen the frames crack on my range in a class, brand new Hi-Point out of the box. It's to be expected for a pistol that costs a whopping $180 to $199 new, right? However, I will say this. The only Hi-Point I've ever allowed in my classes that I have watched, because the guy said mine runs, I've had it for several years, no issues, was an older one just like this, chambered in 40 cal. Ran all 100, 150 rounds, whatever we shot that day, with zero malfunctions. And I said, well, you're the first. Because we've seen the 380s and the 9mm have nothing but issues on the gun range and in classes, which is why we don't allow them anymore. I believe that these firearms were made for one primary design. These were made for someone who can't afford anything else. So if you literally have to save up $200 just to get a firearm for self-defense, because maybe you live in a bad part of town, low-income neighborhood, low-income job, a gun is better than no gun. I 100% agree with that statement. If this is all you can afford, is this and a box of ammo, and go out to a gun range maybe once with an instructor to learn how to use the thing, and that's the best you can do because of your status, okay, fair enough. However, these are very, very appealing to criminals. Gangsters, gangbangers, that type of stuff. These guns are very popular because they're cheap. They're considered throwaway guns, so you use them in your crime and then you dump them. I think there's probably more of these that have been pulled out from under bridges and lakes and rivers than probably any other firearm for that reason. We're gonna dump probably 100, maybe 150 rounds through this thing. I got an ammo can full of 40 Smith & Wesson FMJs and a few hollow points. We're gonna see if this thing will cycle hollow points and just have some fun with it, do some plinking around and see if this thing is capable of even hitting the broadside of a barn and how reliable this one is. Alright guys, first mag aside from the intro, I'm just going to print a 8-shot group, which is what the magazine holds. I verified that. It's 7 yards, and see what kind of group I can get out of this thing. Believe it or not, the trigger isn't that terrible. It's not great, obviously, but it's not the worst thing ever. Drop this with my slide lock / safety. That is not nearly as terrible as I thought it was going to be. I just wanted to kind of rip them off and make sure this thing doesn't, like, you know, keyhole or anything downrange. Let's take a look. Okay, so there's my first 8 shots I've printed on a piece of paper with this thing. Not the best group at 7 yards, and I was just kind of ripping them off. I think I could feel the nose of the gun getting driven down a little bit with my trigger pulls, which is okay. But no keyholing, nothing crazy. I think it shoots straight. If I can do that at 7 yards, I can slow down a little bit and probably get some decent hits here at 15 and 25 on steel, which is what we'll do next. Oh, there we go. There's our first malfunction. So put my magazine in, drop the slide stop, and then the slide didn't go all the way home. I just, bumped it again and it went into place. So I'm gonna dump these 8 rounds on the steel plates. I tell you what, that group on the left plate, I've got 3 shots that are like, I don't know, a fist. That's kind of surprising. Let's do it again. Ah, there we go. Okay, let's bring this in so we can get a look at that one. This is a failure to eject along with a failure to feed. So kind of like a jacked up double feed. Let me see how difficult this is to clear. Okay. Pretty easy clear, so just lock the slide open and they both came out. I'm gonna shoot the remainder of them, see if that happens again. If failure to feed. There we go. If that persists, I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on here and see if that helps. I didn't put a drop of oil on this thing before shooting it. Why would I? Because it isn't worth it. Happened again. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna put a little bit of oil on this and see if we can fix that. All right, so high point's clear, no magazine, no round in the chamber. I have some of the best gun lube ever made right here in my hand. This is the Sex Panther gun lube from Panther City Tactical. This is like gun butter, but a whole lot better and not nearly as sticky. So this is what I lube all my guns up with now. Let's see where we can apply some oil. If that's what you call frame rail, we'll put some in there. I'm not taking this thing apart. I honestly don't know how one of these things comes apart. I don't really care to know. I'm just gonna run this gun into the dirt. Let's see. I mean, if it felt smoother, I'd tell you, but it really doesn't. Hopefully that's kind of traveling down south, because like I said, I'm not tearing this thing apart to get all the way inside. Since we were having those failure to feeds, I'm gonna put just a drop on the feed ramp because it does look pretty dirty. I don't necessarily recommend doing that all the time on your guns, just because it's a point that can get a little gunky. Okay, yeah, that did smear around a little bit, so let's see if we keep getting any malfunctions with this thing. Not surprising for what it is. All right, first mag after some Sex Panther gun lube. Okay, no malfunctions that mag. All right, another mag. Ah, same one again. Kind of a halfway double feed. All right. I'm gonna see if I can hit anything on my plate rack. Don't hold me to it. Let's see. Well, as long as you do your part, I guess it hits pretty true. One left. Interesting. So, failure to eject the last round, very last round. There we go. It's a functioning gun, just not a very good one. All right, guys, we're gonna hold this like I think the gangsters that carry this do, and see for one if it functions and if it cycles. Remember, this is demonstration purposes only. We're trained professionals. I'm not doing anything unsafe. I'm just not holding the gun how I would teach somebody to. Hey, it does work sideways. Can't really hit much with it, surprise, surprise. I think I got 2 out of 8, but it does work when you hold it sideways, so that's cool. All right, so these are 155 grain Remington hollow points, kind of an older box of ammo. Pretty flat nose, pretty big open hollow point. Let's see if this thing feeds them. Okay. Those had more recoil, but 0 malfunctions. So more recoil, more powerful, maybe making this chunk brick of a slide go back and forth better. I got 40 rounds of those, 2 boxes. We're gonna shoot every bit of it and see how it does. Oh, same type of malfunction we had earlier. Ah, again. Man, our first mag went really good, and then it said no more hollow points, I guess. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at that one. So that is another like failure to eject that I've tried to clear, and it's like jammed the round. Well, it jammed it up against the extractor right there, which is interesting. I'm gonna power through all these hollow points. I don't care if half of them get dumped out on the ground cleared malfunctions, because I don't have anything else to shoot them through anyway. So out of an 8-round mag, you can get about 4 rounds off with hollow points. First mag ran great, don't know what's going on now, but we're gonna keep powering through. So 3 rounds out of an 8-round mag. Almost all of them. Last 5 hollow points, gotta do them gangster style to see if it'll run. Ah, stovepipe. Oh, what a piece of garbage. This gun isn't going anywhere, guys. We're gonna make some more funny stuff out of this. I need a favor from y'all that are watching this. Please drop a comment below on what color I should Cerakote this thing. It's gotta be something gaudy and awful. It has to be. Like, we're talking Louis Vuitton, $100 bills, something like that. Then it's gonna be like the honorary 40 for when we go to the range and we need a 40 for whatever reason. There's a lot of stuff out there, guys, that is actually really, really inexpensive that isn't that bad. One that comes off the top of my head is the Ruger Max 9. That is a small compact pistol. We have one of those as a rental. I've sold several of them. That is my budget go-to. Those guns go for like $250. You can find them online sometimes like $229, $239. That's $40, $50 more than what these go for, and it is a million times better of a gun. Better gun company. Ruger has a lifetime warranty on all their products. If something ever goes wrong with one of those, you're taken care of. That's one option. Also check out the used market. I've seen some used like Smith & Wesson M&P Gen 1s go for like 200, 220 bucks at pawn shops. That is a much better gun than this thing. So remember, guys, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Check us out if you're in the DFW area at 11295 County Road 346 if you need to get some guns, suppressors, or need a pistol range to shoot on. Working on the rifle range coming soon. And remember, everybody, live a life and lifestyle worth defending, and God bless every one of you. Thank you again.